All right, let's just go through a few example questions here. So for this first one, it just says use the slider to shift the graph 3 units upward. So I just want you guys to get the hang of using or seeing what happens when you change your D value, right? Because if you look at this, our D value is the one hanging off the end. So as I change this one, the graph is moving up and down, just like I kind of showed you in the video there, right? So and it wants us to move it 3 units upward. So in that case, you'd be moving, well, right now I'm just kind of looking at where it starts at 0. So I would move this thing up until 3. And it even shows you 3, right? So that's about it. And then when it says type the resulting function in the box, I just want you to type this. So that would just be sine x, and then push over, and then plus 3. You don't need the 0.00 part. Okay, and then just kind of explain what you think it is. So which of the following best describes the effect of changing D on this function? So vertically shifts the graph or the midline, or it vertically stretches or compresses the graph. Yeah, I'm thinking this one, right? They're vertically shifting the whole thing up. Okay, that's pretty much it. So I won't go into the other ones too, but these are just the same thing, but with the other parts of the equation. Now, yeah, let's do this one because I think period is going to be the harder part here. So first off, it says it's amplitude. So if I'm looking at this equation and I'm comparing it to our formula, y is equal to a sine bx minus c plus d, right? That's always what I'm comparing everything to. So what is this 8? Like if I got sine, or y is equal to 8 sine 10x, well, the 8 is my a value, isn't it? So that's my amplitude. So my amplitude is 8. Now, what's the period? Okay, well, the period relates to this guy, right? That's my b value. So right now, my 10 is my b value. All right, so I know that my b is equal to 10, but it didn't ask for b, did it? It asked for my period. So you guys have an equation on your formula sheet that is period is equal to 2 pi over b. So in this case, it would be 2 pi over, and then our b value is 10. So what would that be? Well, we would want to leave the pi there and simplify this fraction. So 2 over 10 would simplify to 1 over 5. So you could write it as 1 over 5 pi, or typically you just write it as pi over 5. So then you'd type that in. Maybe I'll just make sure you know how to type that in. So in the box there, you can type it in. You can actually type in pi or write the word pi, and it does the same. And then over 5. Okay, that should have been 8. Okay. All right, let's look at this one. So it says, looking at this graph now, what's the amplitude, the period, and the midline? Okay, so the midline, or the median, you saw it on our notes there. Well, I think a good place to start here is to actually just draw the midline. And a lot of times, yeah, you can just get away with just kind of eyeballing it. So, well, here, I'll do it wrong first. Can you guys see that that's not the midline, right? Like that's not cutting that thing in half, is it? So the midline should be right here. And after you draw it, you kind of know it, or after you kind of do that, you can see it, right? I've got the same distance to the top as I do to the bottom, so that's where my midline would be. So here, I'll do that one first. My midline would be that green line I just drew. So horizontal lines are made using y is equal to. So that would be y is equal to -4. Okay? Our amplitude is probably the next one that's pretty easy to see from here. I'm just going from the midline and then going up. How high is that? That's going to be 4 high, right? That'd be 4 from there to there and 4 from there to there. So our amplitude would be 4. And then again, we'll have to find period the way we did before. So the period, well, actually, no, sorry. That's not how we would do it. Since we don't have the equation, we're actually just looking at the graph. So now I'm just going to clean that off. I just want to find anywhere on the graph where the pattern starts to repeat. So I could go from here to here, but I don't know where those points are. I don't know where that is, and I don't know where that is, right? So it's actually nicer if you can figure out places where it crosses nicely. And it crosses nicely right from the beginning. Right? So right from there to there, right? It's on its way up. So I'll keep that in mind. And then go over here, and you can see that that is one full cycle to get to here, right? It's on its way back up again. So how far is that? Well, it starts at my x value of 0 and it goes till 3. Okay, so it's from 0 to 3. So my period here would just be 3. And since there's no pi or anything else on my x-axis, that's fine, right? Well, I'm just going to use these values that they have going on. So they just went, just a 3 there. So that's it. Those would be my numbers. All right, so if we're looking at this one, similar to the one before, but we just have a new part of this one. It says, what's the horizontal shift, or the phase shift as it's called sometimes? Well, that's my C value. Okay, so when you get to this horizontal shift part, then we're saying, well, I know it's going to be 6. It's got something to do with 6 here, doesn't it? So that's going to be 6. But then, is it going to be to the right or the left? Well, remember how I was saying if it's plus, then it's actually going to be like the other way around. It's going to be negative. And if this was negative, then it'd be to the right. So this horizontal shift would be 6 to the left. Like when you hit that drop-down menu, you should see left. Okay. And then your period. Well, your period, you're going to use this, your B value there, right? So that you're going to say the period is equal to 2 pi over B. And then, this would be, instead of B, it'd be 7. So in this case, you can't really simplify that anymore. So when you put this in, you just type it in just like this. It'd be 2 pi over 7. Or if you type in 2 over 7 pi, that's the same thing. It would mark that correct as well. So, and then I'll let you guys work on the amplitude and the midline. I think those are pretty straightforward. Okay, so for this one, we've got sine x minus 2. All right, and I'll help you guys out with this because you probably haven't seen this tool before here. So here's what we're gonna do. So if you see this minus 2 on the end, right, that's really our D value. So what I'm expecting is I'm gonna be shifting this thing up or down, right? And since it's minus 2, I'm gonna be shifting it down. So I just want to show you first off what the graph of sine x would look like on this, and then I'll shift it down. So to begin with, if you remember, sine x started at 0. And then and that was right in the, and then it went up until 2, right? But if you look at that, that doesn't look quite right, does it? The graph of sine x should be going up and down around the midline, right? Or it should be going up and around the x-axis. Well, the problem here is like the tool I chose was from like the minimum to the maximum, right? You see how it's like from the minimum to the maximum there? I actually wanted the other tool. I wanted this one. So here, I'll do that again now with the other tool. So a sine graph starts here and then goes up until there. And then, yeah, that looks like a sine graph, right? Where it goes up, passes through pi, and then goes to 2 pi again, right? And it's done one full cycle. So the graph that we're after will be this, but the whole thing will be shifted down too. So I'll actually just draw on top, like both of them so you can see it. You can only draw one to get the right answer here, but if the whole thing was dropped down 2, then that means from this point, I'm just going to be down 2. Every point on the graph is going to go down 2. Okay, so then this point as well is going to go down 2. So it should be right there. So our new graph, when everything went down 2, should be this bottom one. So there's no good way to like erase just only the top one now. So if I go submit, it'll say it's wrong because there's 2 versions of it. But yeah, you just want to have just that second one going on there. Okay, let's see. Maybe I had that a little bit backwards, didn't I? I should have had that one first. Oh well. Okay, so I'll let you guys figure those out. I think we've covered that. So, all right, so that's it.